Hello, everybody. Hey, Lorna. Hey, Joan. Welcome back to Vancouver. How are we doing? I'm excited to be here today. There's a 2-hour bus ride to get out here, um, but I had to wait 29 minutes at a bus stop because I literally got off one bus. And by the time I kind of got my map together and figured out what bus I needed to be, it was already pulling out of the station. So I was like, oh, and I'm in Langley, and so they only run every half an hour. I'm like, oh well, at least it's sunny. All right, I am going to do the official start in a few minutes, but I don't know if I can show this or not. Getting a bit of an odd glare here from the light. Let me see if I can turn this around because I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little heart in the latte art. Kind of fun. Whoops, sorry, it's a little bit wonky. Hello, Joan in Victoria. How is Victoria today? Hello, Margie. What's the weather like in Victoria? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it warming up? It's supposed to get warmer in Vancouver here. I think I read on Friday. Yay! I am done with cold weather. Lorna, how's your weather doing out in Ontario there? Out in London, Ontario. Hello, Poppy. I think that's the name I've seen before. Victoria's lovely, blossoms blooming and sunny. I was just reading up on not Victoria, but Vancouver because I realized we should be having the cherry blossoms coming out soon. Just above freezing here, but sunny in London. Yeah, I didn't look at the weather today, but yesterday it's been around 8 solid Celsius this week, but no snow. So I'm like, whatever. As long as there's no snow, I'm all good. Hello, Linda. Good morning. How's the weather over on the North Shore? All right, we are officially on go time. Totally excited. We are in Fort Langley today, and right now I'm sitting at a coffee shop called Republica. Now, I had a terrible time picking a shop to start in today because there is a bunch of really cool coffee shops here, and so I thought, I'm just gonna get off the bus and I'm gonna start walking around and see what I feel. And I was doing a little more reading on the way out and doing a little bit of research for the last couple of days. Hello, Jasmine. Hello, Anna. Oh, Sydney, Australia? Or is it Sydney on Vancouver Island, I think, or somewhere in BC. Anyways, for those of you who've never been before, this is Coffee Shops and History Walks. I'm sure you saw the title or you follow me or something fabulous like that. So I pick a different place to go and I go find a cool coffee shop there. We walk around, I talk about the history, maybe throw in some personal stories if I have some, and just get to see some cool scenery all around the Vancouver area. Now, to date, until today, the furthest place I went was Horseshoe Bay for a coffee. Well, I guess technically Seattle is really the furthest I've been, and then New Orleans. But most of my stuff is here in Vancouver. But I decided that sunny, lovely. Um, One of my goals for the summer, and this kind of depends on how my job thing plays out, but my goal and my desire is to take you guys a little bit further out from just the standard, like North Vancouver, Vancouver, maybe Richmond, some New West. So today we're all the way in Fort Langley. Like I said before, it was like almost 2 hours on the bus basically to get here, um, which is one of the reasons I call my company for my other travel stuff is Girl on a Bus Adventures because I love taking the bus and I love going on adventures. Well, okay, I love taking the bus most of the time. Sometimes not, but most of the time. So by car, Langley is about Fort Langley is about an hour's drive out of Vancouver, roughly. Pretty sure I could drive from North Vancouver all the way to Langley in about 40. 5 to 50 minutes when I was, you know, young and silly and had a car. Um, I lived my 20s well, let's just put it that way. Hello to those of you just joining. We're hanging out at Republica, cool little coffee shop. I'll show you what it looks like. Very rustic feel. We are in Fort Langley, BC. And I'm actually sitting across from a mural in a laneway that says "Greetings from Fort Langley." I'll show you this in a moment, actually in a few minutes. Fort Langley, hashtag somewhere different, hashtag Fort Langley fun. And it says the birthplace of BC in 1858. So if you were on my tour last summer, we went to New Westminster. We talked about how, or I talked about how New Westminster was the first big city in Vancouver, and then Vancouver followed. And people used to talk about like going, taking the streetcar into the new city of Vancouver from New West. Well, we're in Fort Langley, an hour out of Vancouver, and this was the birthplace of BC. So I was doing a little bit of history learning, which is one of the reasons I love doing these tours. I learn so much. And for those of you who know your geography in the States, just outside of Portland, there's a city called Vancouver. So if you don't Google your Vancouver stuff carefully, you end up with some address in Vancouver in the US. And I've been to Vancouver, Washington. It's okay, but I think Vancouver, BC, Canada is cooler. But that's just me. And so apparently, when they were kind of trying to decide where the border was going to be, what was going to be the United States of America, what was going to be Canada, they had this Vancouver, and they weren't sure. Vancouver and Portland are across, I believe, a body of water from each other. I want to say a river or a ford or something. And so they were kind of like, they established Fort Langley because they wanted to be on a river with a port and all of that. And yes, it is so cool. I cannot wait to show you guys what the city of Fort Langley, city township of Fort Langley looks like. So they created this Fort Langley in case they didn't get Vancouver, Washington. So they didn't get Vancouver, Washington, 49th parallel, blah, 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 the border, all of those things. And so now then we had Fort Langley, which became the birthplace of BC. And I believe, at least for out west here, this was the first Hudson's Bay Company. If you know anything about Canadian history, Hudson's Bay Company is one of the oldest retailers, we say, in Canada, if not, maybe not quite the world. We used to say that at Rocky Mountaineer. One of the oldest retailers in Canada, if not the world, but probably not the world. However, the Hudson's Bay Company was around to do the fur trading and things like that. They sold traded a lot of blankets. There was a lot of indigenous, of course, people that settled out here and around here. It was a great area for fishing and things like that. Um, so welcome aboard to those of you who are just joining. We're just going through a little bit of BC history here before I go out and show you how amazing Fort Langley is. I'm gonna have another sip of my coffee. You know me and my coffee. I love it. I do want to say a big thank you to all those of you who followed along on my journeys in New Orleans. I had so much fun showing you guys my favorite city. And I've got some other different surprises coming up this summer that I'll probably talk about more towards the end of the tour, at least one other opportunity. And then we're going to get going in a moment. So, does anybody have any questions before I start walking? Any comments? How are y'all doing today? I'm guessing you're doing well. And I'm just going to say I've got my cordless earphones in, and they did kind of do the unpaired thing twice before starting the tour today. So I'm hoping that everything goes without a hitch. My favorite city is New Orleans. Yes. And I was there for about 5 days back in the middle of February. And then I came back here and it was so cold and I had stuff going on and now I took the job. So I took a couple of weeks off from touring, but I am back. And so, like I was saying, we're out in Fort Langley today and I'm trying to uh, my goal for the summer is to show you guys more of outside of Vancouver. So, oh, yeah, I don't really talk about things like that with New Orleans, but keeping in mind what we learned from the pandemic, the media does like to blow things out of proportion. And as far as the crime rate in New Orleans, you know what? Like any other city, right? It's big. There's a bit of poverty issues, things going on. So, I mean, I've been to New Orleans 27 times, 26 times, something like that, and knock on wood, I've not had an issue yet. I always just say, you know, when you're traveling, don't wear your earphones. Keep your wits about you. Know what's going on. Use your intuition, and you're fine. Um, New Orleans is a lovely city full of really amazing people, and unfortunately, they do have some bad stuff going on. But there, like anywhere, there's so much more positive stuff to the city than the things the media like to blow completely out of proportion. I mean, I've been there like 26, 27, I don't even know, could be 28 times. I've been there everywhere from like three days to 2 weeks. And I've stayed in all kinds of parts of the city. And you know what? I just, if somewhere doesn't feel safe, I leave. Just like I do in Vancouver. I've had things where I walk in the neighborhoods and it's like, I'm not feeling this today. I'm out. Hop in an Uber and go home. Um, yeah, it is definitely a melting pot. So here in Vancouver, I'm trying to find a really cool coffee shop in Port Moody to take you guys to. Thinking I might even go as far as like, I don't even know, Coquitlam, Maple Ridge. Um, where else was I thinking I would go? Oh, here's the thing. I wanted to take you guys to Steveston today. So Steveston is a subdivision or area of Richmond, and it's a really cool spot. If any of you watch the show Once Upon a Time, if you've ever watched that show is primarily filmed mostly in Steveston, from what I understand. I've just kind of been reading up on that show over the last year. And Tim Hortons, yes, I'm a Timmy's girl. So I was going to take you guys out to Steveston today, but they're actually filming a show there right now, and they basically a few of the shops they've shut down for filming, and it's on the main strip. So I'm like, oh, if they're setting up for all this filming, it may not be a great time to go. So instead of going to Steveston, I did a last minute switch a couple of days ago and decided to bring you guys out here to Fort Langley. So we're gonna get going in just a moment and head out. And I'm so glad. It was supposed to be 40% chance of rain today in Fort Langley. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to chance it. You guys bring me luck. I seem to have really good weather when I do tours. So I was like, let's just give it a shot and we'll head out to Fort Langley and hope for the best. So in just a second, I'm going to flip this camera around. And then we're going to go, I'll show you this cool little shop. Again, we're in a place called Republica. And when I was reading up, it seems like they're a roaster and a coffee shop. And I believe they supply coffee to some of the other little coffee shops here in Fort Langley, which is kind of cool. So I was like, you know what? Let's just start at Republica. It kind of feels like a good place to start. And we'll go catch some sunshine. I'm actually going to stay out here for the afternoon. There's a restaurant I'm going to go to for lunch today after the tour. And I'm pretty excited to show you guys around. So let me see if I can find a nice little view to switch you to while I stand up. Nobody wants to watch me get up and put my backpack on. Here we go. Nope. Oh my gosh. Sorry. It's been a while. Here we go. Let me do this the right way. You know, if you can't laugh at yourself, then what's the point of life? Let's see here. Oh. There we go. There we go. Almost. Okay, that's at least more interesting than watching me stand up. So everything out here in Fort Langley seems to be really little. So tiny little shops, tiny little everything, little murals. It's all so cute. I probably have coffee on my nose. I just transported it into my, I got smart today and I brought my to-go container to transport into because I've had too many incidences of spilling my coffee on my fabulous shoes. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look around. So this is where I was sitting today. Nice little spot here right at the window. And we have all these burlap coffee bags here. And this is, right? This is so cute. Hey, Lorna. So they have, this is their coffee, Republica Coffee Roaster. Yeah, I just love finding cute little shops. It's like one of my missions in life and love sharing them. And here we go. They've got some classic little signs here. I'm going to show you. There we go. Hello, Eliza. Yeah, so cute. I love these little containers too. All right. And they sell shirts. Oh, here we go. Here's the right size coffee mug for me, just to show you. There's my hand. Look at how huge that is. I need a coffee one like that. Oh no. Look at these. I like the yellow one. The yellow one's my favorite. I always get sad when it's summer because I do love wearing these toots and beans t-shirts. I wonder where they got those giant coffee cups. Those are so fun. Let me see if I can adjust this. Whoops, wrong way. Sorry. Oh my goodness. You don't do tours for like 3 weeks and suddenly you're so rusty. And then there was let me give this a moment. Eliza, you've got a cup that big? No way. Where did you get it? Now this one I took a picture of. I am only as strong as my coffee. I think that's a good one. Hello, Manuela. Yeah, I'd love to learn how to do latte art. All right, we're gonna head outside. Here we go. So there's a little shop here. I'm guessing it's not open yet. Things don't seem to open till a little bit later. Called Wild Moon and Star, and I think that's so cute. I just think that's so pretty. And they've got the little ribbon in the tree right above. Hello, everybody joining in. Here we are. So here is, oh, let me show you the outside of the shop first. Doing my best trying not to get people into the picture here. So let me, sorry, I keep doing this the wrong way. My brain is not quite functioning this morning, I think maybe. This is my first cup of coffee for the day, so maybe that's it. So this is the front of Republica Coffee here in Fort Langley, this charming little town I get to show you all about. Hey, Marty, good morning. Republica, look at how cute this is out here. I think this is just the cutest little shop. Yeah, BC is known for its greenery, that's for sure. The rainforest that we are out here. So let me just get back out here. I'm on gravel and trying not to trip and fall. So if the camera gets a little wonky, my apologies. Just trying to keep myself safe. Here we are. Good morning. Good morning. It was such a cozy, cool little spot. Yeah, I love Fort Langley. You didn't get maybe both of them in the picture here. So yeah, greetings from Fort Langley. Like I was reading, the birthplace of BC since 1858. I think originally it was everything was founded and started around 1827, and then it just became official in 1858. And then we've got Republic of Coffee mural. I'm going to take a walk down here and show you guys the rest of the mural. And we, of course, little area here. I'm not really sure what this place is. Find something to do with yoga and meditation on the door. I love this little brick feel. This must be so cute at night because they've got all the little string light things here. So here's our next set of murals. Fort Langley fun with the fishies. Aw, what a nice way to study. I often, when I'm doing stuff or writing tours, I'll actually I'll go to YouTube and I'll start researching the next city I want to visit. And so I'll just put on like tourist videos. It's a great way to kind of subliminally maybe learn. And then these ones here, I love this one, the silhouettes, the dancers, the couple in the silhouettes, very cute. Of course, all the graffiti hearts and the sucker for hearts. I love it all. So here we are in a city officially founded in 1858. I believe, I'm trying to remember, sorry, there was a building, there's one building that's original out here. Everything else, of course, burned in a fire with all the wood buildings. And there is one, it was burnt down and then they rebuilt the structure. And then it's been around ever since, which I think is like something like since 1840 or something. So there's a little 50s diner. I'm not sure if you can see that across the street. That is where I'm going for lunch. I'm so excited. It looked so cool when I saw the pictures inside. And then the Crosswalk Cafe is originally where I thought I was going to go with you guys. But it turns out it doesn't open until noon. I'm like, what kind of coffee shop doesn't open till noon? That just doesn't seem right. So I was a little disappointed. Anyways, we'll see this side of the street later, a little closer up. Roxanne's, I'm too old to read what the writing underneath the signs says, but I'm sure it's something cool and I'll figure it out later. And then there's like antique shops. So just up this way here, there is a couple of antique shops. So what I thought I'd do is we're going to head down off to my right here. And there's a few little sights to see down here. And maybe if we have time, we'll be able to cruise through an antique shop or something, or maybe we'll hit a few of the boutiques along the way. We are I've looked at the map, I've read what places are, and let's see what we find, what we can explore. And again, I do love my places that have all the string lights, and I always tease all about Hallmark movies and living in a Hallmark movie set in the city of Vancouver. And here we are again. There really is no shortage of cuteness here in this city. There's the place across the street there is called Beatnik's Bistro, and just everything is just so fun and cute here. So we've got like just a little patio here where you can just stop and have your coffee. Nice little lawn. I'm wondering if this is like an event space or something too. I wonder if they do stuff in the summer here, like maybe outdoor concerts and shows and things. Is that the right way to go? Yeah, because I think we're just going to loop around here and we'll go back to another building, bigger building, along. Yeah, I wonder if there's although there doesn't seem to be much of an entrance to this space. They do have, I was reading up, and in October they do a cranberry festival. They were saying they have a fair amount of events and festivals here in Fort Langley, but I couldn't find any information on my first quick search other than this cranberry festival. And then I was like, huh, this uh, this might be somewhere cool to come back to for the cranberry festival. Who knows? I'll have to do some research on the cranberry festival. Oh, it's like seriously, it's like my fingers aren't freezing off. It's pretty, it's sunny, there's some nice scenery. I'm noticing these seem to be coming back a little bit. This is Wendell's Books and Fresh Food Cafe. I'll get a better view from across the street. But in my research of coffee shops and things lately, I have noticed that there's a few little bookstores and cafes opening up together. So everything has this little country kind of feel to it. I know, right? Their whole little community. I know there's a building with like the Fort Langley Heritage Society and stuff, and they sure do take good care of everything here. Now, the other thing I was curious about is, you know how like a lot of cities have um, names, street names and stuff, and you often wonder what the story is behind it. Like, look how cute this area is right here. There's a street up ahead called Billy Brown. I tried to do a quick search when I got here and saw that, but I didn't know how to search. I don't know. I was literally trying to find out who Billy Brown was, but I couldn't find out who Billy Brown was. I had a quick little run. So this is the CN Station historic site. 1915. Oh, and there's a garden. Yeah, Langley Heritage Society. That's what it is. So we'll just go do a little walk past here. I think that will go into the Vancouver Aquarium. I see that pink little otter. They have those there. And I guess this must be the train station over here to my left. Give me a moment and we'll go explore and see what this is. I feel like there may be definitely right by the railroad track. And there are no more passenger trains that run through here, only I think freight trains. Back when I first got off the bus and walked down this way, they had a train going through. I love the sound of trains. Ever since working for a Rocky Mountaineer. Can you imagine coming down here in the summer, maybe with an ice cream, and just sitting at the park and hanging out with your friends or family, something in a nice little setting? Fort Langley, CN Station, when rail was king. When Langley was mainly trees, farms, and dusty roads, the railway helped the community grow. Trains stopped to load and unload passengers and freight, linking people across Canada. So, this station was built in 1915 by the Canadian Northern Railway. Financial troubles during World War I resulted in this railway being taken over by the government. The Canadian National Railway Company was formed in 1918 to amalgamate the CNOR and several other failing railways. As airplanes, cars, and trucks replaced rail traffic, the CN station was made a flag stop in 1972 and closed permanently in 1980. So one of the pictures here is Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip slowly passing through Fort Langley aboard the Royal Train. You know what? Let's just go in a little closer here. So that's that one there, 1951. Some better pictures, nice up close here. The CN station opened as a Langley Heritage Site in 1984. Richard Simpson was the longest serving station agent in Fort Langley. He and his wife Mary competed in best garden contests among CN stations. Who knew that was a thing? Huh, won for best garden. Oh, competed. Sorry, didn't say they won. Oops. And Clearing Land decided to see an art track about 1920. Wow. So here we go. This is the original Fort Langley train station. Very cool. Let me see if I can get a better picture. There we go. Now you can see it. The station in Fort Langley. There we are. Oh my goodness, such a beautiful day. Let's take a little walk down the platform here real quick before we carry on with our tour. Ah, here we go. Here's an actual. I knew there had to be something to do with an actual train car. And sign eastbound, westbound. There we go. I remember staying at the Chattanooga Choo Choo Hotel in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and the train station was actually the lobby of the hotel. And I tell you, we stayed for one night on our crazy Blues Highway road trip before we started it. And I could have stayed at that hotel for a couple of days easily. We stayed in an actual like 1920s Pullman car at that hotel. Part of my, oh, thank you, Joan, fascination with trains. I mean, I never really was into trains until I started working at Rocky Mountaineer. And then I just became, there's something soothing to me about the sound of a train. And it's just very cool. So that kind of reminds me a little bit, not quite, of the train car we stayed in Chattanooga. Let me just see if I can go in a little closer here. There we go. I think that makes kind of a cool shot. All right, I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. We'll turn around and continue our little walk about this cute, charming little town. And definitely, you could spend a day here, come for breakfast, and eat all your meals and snacks out here. There's ice cream shops and chocolate shops, and the 50s diner I'm going to go to. There's a little brewery, and a couple of pubs and taverns. Very, very, very cute little spot here. And I like that they've done a really great job of like keeping the same look with the newer buildings, right? I love a whole good vibe. All right. It's another little side street with some cool looking shops. We'll go explore. I caught a glimpse of the mountains today when I was coming through Vancouver, just leaving my place. There's a few little places where you can look between and see the mountains. And oh my gosh, the mountains have beautiful fresh snow on them. Can't really see it from here, but back in Vancouver, it was lovely. So, like I said, it was a 2-hour bus ride to come out here today. The things I do for my voyagers, travelers, guests, my what is starting to feel like family, you guys. And when I started to do this whole thing of like, where else could I show them? I started to get really excited about maybe we'll go to Port Moody, maybe we'll go to Coquitlam, maybe we'll go to White Rock is very famous, partly for fish and chips and for the beach. So I was thinking of maybe going out to White Rock this summer as well, showing you guys around there. Um, and yeah, Steveston. But I don't know how many people are into that show or were into it once upon a time. But I was thinking of maybe doing a little bit of research on that and finding out where exactly in Steveston they filmed, because I think it would be fun to do a whole tour for Once Upon a Time fans on all the different places they've filmed in Steveston. Steveston's really cool. It's kind of like this as well, a little bit different and right by the sea. So we'd be able to go do a little walk down by the water. True aromatherapy products and spa. Oh, here we've got a little heritage plaque. Let me turn this around here and we'll take a look at this one. There we go. David Moss Coulter, 1862 to 1935. Born in Ontario, where he taught school for 15 years before coming to BC with his wife Lizzie and their son and three daughters in 1897. David visited two school chums who ran the general store at Murray's Corners. That's the name of the building, I think. And they offered to sell it to him. They also bought the general store in Fort Langley, which David operated while Barry ran the store in Murrayville. David and Lizzie were laid to rest in the Fort Langley Cemetery, just a few steps from here. There we go, a little bit of history. And I do believe this was maybe the building that they were talking about. So I'm going to flip it around, and we're going to keep going. It actually, this kind of reminds me, um, the church I grew up in. Just cute. Oh man, I'm going to spend the whole day out here. I know it. Just cute little shops everywhere. Sorry, I'm going to be like constantly like going off topic today because I'm having so much fun. So growing up, my church used to go to this camp down on Whidbey Island in the States, which is fairly well known for being like a naval base, stuff like that. And there was this little town there called Langley. And so my church would go there for the weekend for a little retreat. And my family would also go there during the summer for a week-long family camp session. Checking everything out here. And one of the things we would do, whether it was for the church camp weekend or the week long, we would often go into the little town Langley and go hang out. And it was a big thing to like go get ice cream. And it was all very much like this, very an old little town. They had a little ice cream shop, old fashioned ice cream shop. Their little movie theater from like the 1920s or 1910s is like still in operation. I've never been inside. I bet it's cool. And so we used to go and hang out in the Langley there. And it was just kind of a fun part of my memories of going to that camp. Village Antiques Mall. I believe it's like I think there's supposed to be all kinds of little vendors who all deal in antiques in there. Let's do one more walk down here and then we'll go over a street or two. And so they had this in the little town of Langley on Whidbey Island. They had this little shop called the Star Store, and it was a general store, and it had like a little grocery store, and you could buy clothing and toys. And we would literally, the guys would go to the, what was it called, Mad Dog Brewing or something like that. And the guys would all go sit and have a beer, and the women would all go hang out in the Star Store. And we'd always end up buying some kind of touristy blankets or I don't know, just cool little things. There is the reed block here with its sign. That's cool. I see another park. It's all very sweet down here. Yeah, it totally reminds me of being in Langley, down on Whidbey Island, and that whole gosh. We used to joke when we were like, when we first started going down or going into town. My first memories, we were maybe like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, and we were there with a couple of other families from my church for the week-long camp, and these cute little houses. We were in Langley, and it was like, the parents, it was such a small town, they let us just kind of run wild and we go check out the stationery Hallmark store, and like, um, they had like a couple of cool little toy shops and like stores with like purses and bags, kind of like a Claire's boutique, but like a mom and pop shop style one. So this over here, there is the actual Fort Langley National Historic Site. We'll give it a moment for that big truck to go by. Looks like they have a school that is there right now for a tour. Let's have a truck drive right in front of us. So anyways, my friend and I were wandering around and we had to use the washroom. So we're like, do you think they actually have washrooms? Like, what if they're just outhouses? Like, we don't know. So we had to ask for directions. And the lady was like, oh, yes, we have a washroom. You just gotta go out these back doors to the lane and down the lane about half of what. And we started to laugh so hard because we were like, oh my gosh, it actually is outhouses. This is crazy. Where are we? And we were, of course, teenage girls or 10-year-old girls or whatever in fits of giggles, and then realized that it was actually just they had built a men's restroom and a women's restroom. And they just happened to be down the street and around the corner type thing. Linda, have you been into the antique mall then? All right. So, yeah, I think once, I've only ever been out here once. Let's see if we can check out the sign here. Being my first time out here since like I was 5 or something like that. I'm a little disoriented on as to what is out here. So forgive me if I'm crossing back and forth across the street, just because there's lots to explore. And seeing it on a map is one thing, but seeing it in person is something totally different. So I think this just kind of gives a bit of a, let me flip this around here. There we go. Trans Canada Trail. Oh, that's one of the things I was wondering about. Just focus this back in here. Longest recreational trail in the world. Okay, I'm going to go a little closer and read this. Uh, Initiated in 1992 as a lasting legacy to Canada's 125th birthday celebration, it is a non-profit charitable endeavor of love and commitment to a great vision of bonding Canadians together from coast to coast. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Go, and I'll show you this whole map part of it here. Let me just go out for a second. There we go. That's a little better. And so all the names here are people who contributed to doing this whole Trans-Canada Trail. Trans-Canada Trail is for all Canadians to enjoy and be shared with all peoples of this world who embrace the same respect and love of nature. How cool. So then you can see, let's go right up close on this. I guess the orange is I don't know. I'm guessing the Trans-Canada Trail. So there we go. That is Canada and how it is all connected. All right. There we go. Very cool. So we are learning little bits of things here today. I'm going to get away from these trucks. We're going to go back up to the other corner, take a left. I saw an old church building or something, and I'm trying to figure out when I was walking in where that was. So just bear with me here. We're going to deke across the street here. and it's a really odd intersection. The cars are on a weird angle, so it's hard to tell if they're like trying to turn left or go right or what they're doing. And not everybody signals. Everyone drives differently. Everyone relates to rules differently. Oh, yeah. So then I was reading up because there's like Fort Langley, then they talk about Langley Township and the city of Langley. And um, when decided to come out here, I got all excited and was like, oh my gosh, my brother lives in Langley. Whoops, wrong street. I should call him and like see if he wants to meet for dinner. And then I remembered my brother moved from Langley. He no longer lives here. He now lives up in the interior at Christina Lake. And so for a fleeting moment, I was like, oh, makes me sad that I can't see him. Okay. When you see that, hello, darling. Does anybody else have that? Is it Conway Twitty song go through their head? Is it Conway Twitty? Hello, darling. Or is it like George Jones? It's been a long time. Blah, blah, blah. I can kind of half sing some of the lyrics. Here's another good sign. I love signs. Hello, Karen. Darling, always be good. And if you can't be good, be careful. Yours ever. I feel like people have said that to me once or twice in my life. Be good. And if you can't be good, have fun, but be careful. All right, here we go. Oh, this was another place. I don't think I can see inside. Blacksmith Bakery. This was one of the places that I looked at coming into. Yeah, here we go on the corner here. And it looks cool. They had some good drinks and stuff, but like it's not that cool vibe that I like. But the tables sure are cute. There we go. The Republica. I was trying to find something unique to order off the menu. Um, and they had, what was it called? Oh, a Spanish latte. So I was like, oh, cool. What's that? And it's basically just made with condensed milk. I was thinking maybe it would have like some spices or something in it, but just the difference was that it was made with condensed milk, which makes it very, very sweet. So I was like, oh, thank you for the info. That is not a drink for me. I definitely watch my sugar intake like a hawk. Here's another good sign. No parking anytime, day, night, or weekends, just to be clear. All right. Clearly, they've had a few people park in front of their house, and it doesn't thrill them, I'm gonna guess. But then, I mean, I would feel probably the same way if I had a cute little house on a charming street in the middle of a really cute town. Aha! I found the church. Looks like it's a daycare or has a daycare here. There's a cool little house. It's like kind of like a farmhouse or something. What's that? I feel like that roof has a particular style or name to it. All right, here we go. It's fun watching all the drivers try not to hit me. Here we go. The parish of St. George. I could see it from the street. I think that's what it was. I thought I saw a steeple though. Maybe it's a different church I'm thinking of. They definitely seem to have a daycare here as well. There's the whole property for you. Ooh, that sun's about to break through some clouds. Beautiful. And in a few minutes, we're going to have a historic building coming up. So, of course, this area has been used for filming, movie crews, locals, stuff like that. And they have filmed some Hallmark movies out here, people. But I can't tell you which ones because I was doing research on both Steveston and Fort Langley in the past week. And my spicy brain, as I call it, could possibly, oh, there goes a train, be mixed up with which ones. Not that it gave a lot of titles. It did mention, both of them mentioned one, and I don't remember which one is which. But of course, yes, they use this area for Hallmark movies. And this has also been used, if you've ever watched the series When Calls the Heart, they've done some filming out here as well. And again, oh, how I would love to see this town as the sun goes down and slightly after, because they have these little lights everywhere here. Very cool little playground. I like that big mural in the background. Let's see if we can get in a little closer. It says, "You are beautiful." You can get a better picture. Not as much cars. The rest of the cars, I don't know. There we go. We shall carry on. And so, yes, they've done some filming of When Called the Heart out here. And out of it, my cousin, who I mentioned before, Clayton James, who is a bit of a Hallmark movie actor, has also had a recurring smaller role on When Called the Heart. And actually, oh, that's what they were doing in Steveston. So, there's a TV show out right now, something to do with the name Todd. It's a weird title. And my cousin Clayton James was actually in that show. And that's what it was. They were filming, getting ready to film an episode or part of an episode of this Todd show in Steveston, which is why they were shutting some stores down and all this kind of craziness. And so I didn't want to go out to Steveston because it wasn't clear how much of the city was being taken over for filming. And the main street isn't all that big, kind of like the main street here. And so I thought, let's leave this whole Steveston thing for when the big article on Google homepage isn't that they've shut down shops in Steveston for filming. And it looked like it was possibly, if filming didn't go well, gonna go well, could possibly go into part of next week. So I got to look at my schedule. Maybe I'll take you guys out there next week, and we'll see. All right. So this is Langley Community Hall, built in 1931, and this building has indeed been used in Hallmark movies. So now you know when I watch all my Hallmark movies, I am going to be watching for this building now, for sure. That's interesting. Langley Community Hall, built in 1931, and it had been a city since 1858. Very interesting. All right, let's finish a little walk through this area here, and we'll turn around and head back. Now, when I was talking about, like, this is Fort Langley, there's like Langley Township, there's Langley Center, and as it happened, when they were going through this whole debate of, like, Vancouver, Washington, Fort Langley. What are we going to do? Then the whole thing gets established that yes, indeed, Fort Langley is going to be a port. They're going to go ahead with Fort Langley, make it a major city for import-export, which they used to import cedar to Hawaii from here. Like, what? Oh my gosh, this just looks so cute. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I love finding cute little alleyways and things. Again, what this place must look like at night with all these lights done up. Oh, that's a bit too far. 1, 2, 3. I know. I know, Jasmine. I'm immediately, my head is just going back to like, oh, oh, oh. Like, this looks nice. I swear I've seen them come out of this store before. Isn't this just cute? Ah, I just want to sit and have a little coffee back here. You know what I mean? That's all I would do if I lived near here. I would just come here and drink coffee all day. Although it would be a great place to come and sit down and write new tours. Right? I love a little bit of inspiration. Here we go. Hey, Emma. Welcome, welcome. We've just been hanging out here in Fort Langley, checking out how adorable this little Hallmark movie town is. Oh, okay. Cranberriesnaturally.com. Here's another. Oops, let me just zoom right back out here. And so going back to this whole story where I was talking about, super cute here. Anyways, they're going through this whole like Langley Township. At one point, it was called Langley Prairie instead of just like the city of Langley. And then they were all going to be one big happy city family. And then there was, I kid you not, some controversy over street lamps, people. Controversy over street lamps. And I'm not sure if these would have been the ones. I feel like we're talking like street lamps from like the 1920s. Oh, okay, very cool. Anyways, for some extreme silliness, um, they divided and became Township of Langley and City of Langley because they couldn't agree on the lamppost or something to do with the lamppost. So, divided nation they became, and the rest, as they say, is history. So, I just think that's one of like the silliest things I've ever heard. Two cities dividing up all over some lampposts. Wow. Adulting is hard, right? Oh, we're going to go a little bit further up. I think this looks like a cool house up here. It's probably a bed and breakfast or something now. And as we all know, I'm a sucker for hearts. So we painted this electrical box thing. And look at that. It's a tree with a blue heart in it. That's actually a very mystical kind of vibe to it. Don't you think? I really like that. Very cool. Fort and Co. I bet that's a ceramics place. Whew, if it wasn't so far away, I would stop and build a piece of ceramic, something, paint it today. But then I have to come back and pick it up. Very cool little strip mall. Looks suspiciously newer, but they've kept it in theme. Reminds me of like a western kind of town more, don't you think? It's got that kind of western, dusty sidewalks or dusty streets and wooden plank sidewalks kind of vibe to it there. Ooh, I love this house coming up. I'm glad they came up this way. Oh, oh my gosh, this is okay. I was gonna come here, but I couldn't figure out if I could actually just come in and have coffee. This is the Little White House. It's a little bit kind of famous. Um, It's a place to come for afternoon tea. And I have not yet done this. So clearly I'm going to have to come back here because I love afternoon tea. It's like my guilty pleasure. And this place is so totally adorable. I think their afternoon tea is like maybe 45 or 50 bucks, but they do three different ones. There's like a vegan one you can order, kind of the regular specialty, and then there's an Emily in Paris afternoon tea that comes with a glass of champagne. And look at these dresses and the overalls. Again, blue heart. Look at that. I'm sensing a blue heart theme today. I don't know if I could pull off these looks, but that one dress on the right, oh my gosh. Even just for once, I would love to wear a dress like that. Very cool. Oh, blue hearts, Eiffel Tower in the background. Ah, this is making my day. I don't know about the rest of you, but this totally makes my day. It's good to know that the little white tea house is that accessible by bus. Here we go. So this is their little sign, little white house, high tea service all day. Totally going to have to stop and go in there today as well. Take a look around. Actually, maybe I'll see if they'll let me come in and I'll show you guys around. This looks like a house out of a storybook, a fairy tale. Let me get to a good spot. Here we go. Look at that house. I would totally paint it different colors if it was my house, but I love it. I think it's fantastic. Very cool. Look at the little kind of semi wraparound porch. I love houses with all little nooks and crannies and things. Little bit spooky. It is right next to a cemetery. Right there. Here we go. I wonder who lived there. I wonder who had this house built. I wonder what their story was. I bet they have a fabulous story. Very cool. Oh my goodness. We've been together here for like an hour now. Crazy. My, how time flies when you're in a super cute little town. I actually thought it might be kind of a bit busier today because it's spring break for us up here. So the kids are on their 2 weeks of spring break. So on the way out here, I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. I don't know. Oh. And then I got out here and it's really not that busy. I guess anybody who's doing stuff, maybe they're all down at Fort Langley at the historic site there. Oh, they probably won't let me in. It's just so cute. Let's just get another shot of the little white house. I only know one person who's been here for like afternoon tea. She didn't like it, but her and I have very different opinions on like afternoon tea, and the places that she likes are places I would never go to again. So I feel like I have to take a look for myself, give it a try, and find out. So being that it has been an hour, my goodness, friends. I think I told you all the fun, super cool history I found out about the town, and had some silliness. And we'll flip this around here. There we go. Let's put the little white house in the background here. There. All right. Yeah, it's been an hour. My how time flies when you're having fun, right? What time is it here? That is an outstanding question. Let me see if I can turn my watch around so I can actually read it. 12, 12:17. It is lunchtime here.
Where are you, Emma? What part of the world are you in?
So I'm gonna have to get going. Um, but hey, I hope you guys had fun today. I will let you know that March is a special month for me. 10:17 at night for Sammy. All right. Month is month. March is my birthday month, so I'm just gonna let y'all know that. Oh, in England, 7:17. Okay. Um, in the month of March, for anybody who follows my Facebook, I always do one of those Facebook birthday fundraisers. I am getting to a point here. And I support an organization actually in the States called Katie's Crops with my birthday fundraiser. And it's this, if you've been on my tours before, you may have heard me talk about Katie. She started out as a 9-year-old girl who grew a cabbage for a school project when she was 9. And her cabbage, um, ooh, I'm not so good with doing stuff in chat. You can actually find me on Facebook. If you go to Girl on a Bus Adventures, there's a group there that you can join, Girl on a Bus Adventures. My handle here on Hago is Adventures with Co, C-E-A-U-X. So if you look up Co Chitty, so C-E-A-U-X, um, and then last name like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Oh, thank you, Linda. Um, you'll find me, Coach Chitty, on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram as well in the Best Adventures. So, anyways, back to the month of March. Long story short, I support Katie's Crops, which is done by this gal who grew a 40-pound cabbage when she was 9 years old, donated it to a soup kitchen, had this great idea of like, hey, if I could feed 100 people in a soup kitchen with one 40-pound cabbage, imagine what I could do if I grew a whole garden. And so now, in her early 20s, this young lady has kids growing gardens all over the US and has done amazing things. She has this flagship garden in just outside of Charleston, and um, she does like yoga classes. They do kids craft mornings. They have volunteers helping her main flagship garden. They have gardens in different schools around there. And all through the pandemic, every Thursday for the first 2 years, every Thursday, Katie and the same 6 volunteers or 5 volunteers put on a dinner to go for the anybody in struggling in her town. And they did over 400 dinners every Thursday night, and somebody baked fresh loaves of bread to um, go with the meals and all this stuff. If you look up Katie's Crops, it's an amazing organization. And getting to the point, a percentage of all of my tips for the month of March are going to go and be sent through my Facebook fundraiser um, to this Katie's Crops because I just um, I love it when people interrupt me. Always gotta have a word in. Anyways, I really love what Katie does, and I met her as a Huggable Hero in 2009 in the beautiful city of St. Louis, and we've been friends ever since. I actually had lunch with Katie and her mom about 5 years ago in Charleston, and she's just a super cool human being who does amazing things. And so my point is, I just want to say that any tips I get today, a percentage of that is going to go to Katie's Crops, and that and for the whole month of March. So if you have the means and can drop a little bit my way, um, that's super appreciated. And if you can't, at least look up Katie's Crops, see what she does, and that's one way, creating awareness of what she does. She's worked so hard. She now does her dinners every other week, and she's feeding over 600 people because there's so many people in her community having a hard time. So, on that note, thank you for being here and hanging out with me today. Thank you for enjoying the sunshine with me and exploring this cool little town. For those of you who watch the Hallmark movies, I know you'll all be watching out now and looking for familiar spots.
I've had a blast. If I can fit it, I'm definitely going to do another coffee shops and history walks tour next week. I haven't decided where it's going to be. Looking at my schedule, if I can, I might shoot out to Steveston and we'll go check out this whole little Storybrooke once upon a time kind of makeshift city out in Steveston, go see what's going on there. And if not, it'll be somewhere a little more local. Who knows? It could also be in my neighborhood because there's lots of places left to explore in my neighborhood. So again, um, thank you so much, everybody. It's been my pleasure to host you here in this amazing city. If you're just hopping on, we are at the end of a very fun little tour. I'm sorry you missed it. But if you go ahead and follow me on Hago, I do these coffee shops and history walk tours quite often. And it's just a fun little coffee filled event where we go. I pick a coffee shop and then talk about the history of the area and show you the neighborhood. And it's just my goal to show you there's so much more to the city of Vancouver and the surrounding areas than just Stanley Park, Granville Island, and the usual things. So wherever you are in the world, have an awesome day. I hope I've managed to be my true self and convey a few magical moments for you today. And I will see you on the next tour. All right. Thanks so much. Have a fabulous one.